before we get started? Is there anything you want me to avoid? No, you seem like an open book. I wouldn't imagine so.
Europeans,
well, firstly, right? I appreciate you coming on the show. Welcome to the Tragedy Academy, a show created to bridge societal divides in a judgment-free zone using candor and humor. Gary, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm great. How y'all doing?
Living the dream.
Hell yeah.
Right? We are sitting here today we are graced with the presence of, I'm going to see if I get this right. Nico Verresen.
Yes. Verresen.
Was that really right?
Verresen. Zin. Okay, Verresen. Okay, good. Now that I have said your name over and over, everybody should remember who you are now. But Nico is a former Muay Thai champion, psychologist, and a coach with a very eclectic background that I cannot wait to get into. And I want to welcome you to the show. How you doing today, Nico?
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm calling from Colombia, Medellin, with the most beautiful city I've been in. So I like it. Yeah.
Gary likes Medellin.
I've only been to Cartagena, but I like
Cartagena. Sorry.
Yeah, I've liked 99% of that trip.
That's why I said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got rolled the last time he was in Colombia.
Did you get scoped?
Yeah.
Did you get scoped?
It was the police.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was being stupid. Well, I wasn't being that stupid, but I was out late walking around and they saw me, One of the ladies of the night came, started talking to me, realized that I was American by myself. They went and shook me down for a bunch of money and punched me in the face a few times, and a few more times.
Luckily, you were not in Brazil. In Brazil, you would be dead. So.
Actually, he knows everybody in Brazil. He'd probably been better off there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, Brazil, I've heard about a bunch of stuff and I've had friends go through things, but I've been there quite a few times and just never any of that stuff happened to me. But yeah, I think
you're not necessarily rolling with the weakest crew either when you're in Brazil.
Yeah, we usually got security with us and a bunch of fighters. So it's kind of like the security's like crazy. I mean, it's like, and you don't know where they're at, which is like the craziest part about it. Like, we got cut off by this guy one time, and all of a sudden 2 SUVs rolled up behind us and jumped out. We didn't even know they were with us. And like, it was just nothing happened, but they just like, I was like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on here? And then they just got back in like normal. I'm like, and the guy driver's like, oh, they're with us. I'm like, okay, that's good. And also
in so many ways.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that we're starting off in this area because I know that your career started with fighting, and you dedicated yourself to what looks to be a lot of Muay Thai and living in Japan with Shuto and that kind of thing. And then of course Gary's background is he produced the Ultimate Fighter for God Forever and a Day. Yeah, he was the executive producer of the Ultimate Fighter. So
I didn't know that.
That's cool. Why I was super stoked to have you on. And this was a surprise for you.
Oh man, that's a real surprise. Oh, nice to meet you. Cool. Well,
you too. I feel like I've met you before.
It's possible. I've been in the States for a while.
Maybe
I did MMA a while, and I was gonna do I was gonna do the Ultimate Fighter, and then I had my medical checks in Belgium, and I found out I had 2 retinal detachments. Yeah, and my doctor was
damn.
He was.
Yeah, that's the most you can get.
It's so funny. Like I could see in his face. He was trying not to smile. Like, you can publish with this. Like, I never heard about this. So yeah. And then 7 surgeries later, like I had to hang up the gloves. But otherwise, I would have met you back then. 10 years ago by now.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I know quite a few people that have had similar, and some they risk it and it goes bad, and then some, Bisbing, he's completely blind, I believe, in one eye now.
I mean, I
that's not worth it.
Again, I had 7 7 surgeries. So in the end, he was like, I don't know if I can still make it. And I like looking at beautiful things too much. For sure, he called me, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful things to look at in Colombia.
The nature is so beautiful.
Oh yeah, there's probably some trees there too.
Exactly.
So how did you become involved with Muay Thai and martial arts, and when did you start?
Well, I was a really little scrawny fine kid. Like for me, I was a real boy. Playing was climbing trees and jumping from tree to tree and fighting. But like I was in Europe, so everyone was playing soccer. I thought it was for girls. I was like, what the fuck is that? Just kick a ball. You can't even kick each other. I mean, I tried it out and then they sent me home and I couldn't go back because I was too wild or something. And so when I was 11, I tried Japanese jiu-jitsu, but I was doing more push-ups than anything else because I was too wild. So yeah.
It sounds very familiar.
It sounds very military.
And then when I was 14, a friend of me says, like, come to see Thai boxing. I was Thai boxing. I want to do Eastern fighting style. So I got in my mind, Thai, I never heard of it. And so I went in and I saw this absolutely stunning woman. She was the sister of the trainer, like absolutely gorgeous, like 45 kilos. She kicked like I think 80-kilo guys in the liver, and he dropped down. And I fell in love, not only with her, but more with the sport. And I didn't have a lot of money, so I bought secondhand gloves and shin pads and have protection for my holy parts and a bit. And for the next 10 years, there was not a week that I was not training. I was obsessed. It was my life. I always say that she was my first spouse, Muay Thai. Yeah. I love it.
How old were you when you did that?
I was 14. I started fighting after 3.
14 is when you went over there?
Yeah, it was in Belgium. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Especially that you got the opportunity to exercise a passion so early on in life, whereas most people have to find that down their path. Some cross that path earlier. And of course, I think you would probably agree, we'll get into later, that everything happens for a reason. And we have our destiny doesn't necessarily have to be tied to where we start. Right?
No. Like, I feel very blessed.
You're fighting.
I feel very blessed, you know, like I miss it every day. That I can't fight no more. It's painful. So for now I can see fights again. I love ONE FC when they fight with those little gloves. I would love to do that with that many gloves. I love to see the UFC again. But when I stopped jiu-jitsu for a while just because I was so bummed out. You know, I sacrificed everything. I sacrificed the woman that I love the most, right? You know, I sacrificed my academic career, everything, because, you know, I wanted to be a fighter. It was all that I lived for. And luckily, you know, as an athlete, you get paid to rest. But like most of my friends that were fighting, they were all playing video games when they were resting. I was studying because I'm a nerd. I'm a big nerd. And so, yeah, then when at age 30, everything came tumbling down. I went through a real process, and I'm still in the process. You know, it's I think people underestimate what it means if all of a sudden, before you decide you have to stop your passion, the thing you love more than anything in the world. I feel for every fighter, every athlete that sees his identity, his person, who he is or who she is, drop, and then you're there. Who am I now? It's interesting.
It's interesting when we take on the persona of whom we are when we navigate society and our friendships and our relationships. We forget how fragile that we are in our psyche when it comes to who it is we believe we are and the role that we play in others' lives. And we take so much weight upon ourselves when those situations come to fruition, where we're at a crossroads, like you're saying. You have the opportunity to embark on a new path as Nico, but at the same time, we go through mourning. there's a period of time where we have to mourn the loss of who we were. But at the same time, we have to go through it. I think that there's a difference for a lot of people. They'll go ahead and tie a knot in their proverbial rope as a person. If we're a rope, they'll tie a knot in it and continue to use their rope. Whereas someone like yourself will say, you know what? I'm going to walk through this. I'm going to get the correct surgeries. I'm going to weigh out my options. And then I'm going to look at what can I do with what I've learned and see who the new Nico is, because we're ever evolving. It's always now. It's never tomorrow. It's never yesterday. So in order to move, you have to continue to move in place and change. And it looks like you've navigated that very well. And I think people need to hear your story, because to become stagnant is to give into the victim chair. It's to get that thing with the cup holders and put your feet up, because it requires no work going forward. 2 detached retinas on a fighter, you could be the guy on the couch with a social security check or whatever it is and saying, I used to be a fighter. You know, that's a role that some people would take. But you're a psychologist, you're a coach, you affect change in so many different people. And I'm excited to hear about that.
So before I stopped fighting, I was already working with some fighters that didn't have the money for a psychologist. So when I was in the States, when I was 3 months in Ithaca, New York, in bomb squads, actually the gym were originally...
Yeah, Ithaca is the middle of nowhere.
No, man, I love that city. It's so beautiful. It's incredible.
I was in Watertown. That's like upstate New York, right?
It's like at the Finger Lakes. It's where Cornell is. There was so many waterfalls. They were fenced off because of all the Chinese people jumping, because they can't fail. But then I climbed over that, so I had private. I was like, that private waterfall. No.
The Adirondacks are beautiful.
So, it's always exchanging. You know, I was doing my psychology with them because I studied all that, you know. And then they taught me jiu-jitsu, wrestling, a little bit. And yeah. But okay, and then so when that thing with my eyes happened, I was like, yo, what now? But I was not gonna sit still. So then I decided, okay, I have my diploma. Let's work around burnout with people. Burnout, and then actually no. First, I was working with some elite athletes. I had Lawrence Santor. He's a Formula 2 world champion. Then I had Flem van der Stuk. He was Jiu-Jitsu world champion. And then slowly, more and more, I was working with organizational leaders. And in that moment was something very interesting that I saw that kept coming back. The people that have burnout, mostly with women, is that very often the burnout, the working like crazy, it's not a cause. It's a consequence. There's a reason you work 80 or 100 hours a week. Very often it is because of an unsatisfying or an absent input relation. I found that coming back time and time again, you know, where people...
You did a couple of studies on that.
Oh, yeah.
You were a part of a couple of studies on that. I looked into it, not perform with pleasure, but I'm sorry, you had done one on a functional measurement inquiry on the contribution of different life domains to overall subjective well-being. I thought it was super fascinating. I like looking through that. I love the psyche. I love the ego. And I love how we can beg, borrow, and steal from different portions of our own mind and not realize that we're pulling the same rope.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's beautiful. And then but I was quite challenging in relationships. I went from a very shy guy to really arrogant and to fuck boy. I did it all. I was the bad boy, and then I felt bad. So I tried to give them some therapy. I was something else. But I learned a lot about the relationship between men and women. And so, all of a sudden started to dawn on me, listen, like there are 3 pillars where people that tend to go into burnout time and time again have to look at. First of all, are you living by your own values, by your own principles, or you're living by rules? So many people think they live by their values, but then they're drained. Well, that's an indication that you're not living by values, that you're living by internalized rules. You're actually a slave that believes he is the master. That's one. The second thing is again like problems with intimacy, and that can be with a romantic partner, but can also be with other people, whereby sometimes people lose themselves so much in the grind, in the push, that's all there is becomes second nature. And I can look to myself like I sacrificed everything for fighting. Like I was Rocky. I believed Rocky. No matter how hard you get hit, you keep on going forward. And to be honest, it seems cool, but it's dumb. Because that's the reason that I did not become the multiple time world champion. That's the reason I did not enter the ultimate fight, because I never listened to my body. I broke my arm three times during a fight. 2 times I won. One time I had like a split decision loss. And so many things. I've never listened to my body. My testosterone levels.
That's a persona that we play to. We pick that persona because you could be saying the same thing about a painter, a chef, whatever. People will pick that role and they will do anything and everything to fulfill the requirements of that role. Whether you're looking at it, living in it, it is a character. And I say that because actors give us a clue all the time to who we are and how fragile the human experience is. Because you're describing Nico, Muay Thai champion. Nico, Muay Thai champion, does not quit. Nico, Muay Thai champion, shows up every day, plays with a bloke, or fights with a broken arm, whatever it is.
Yes.
Right? That's who you're going to be. That's your role. But if we watch, actors can get so ingrained in a role. They call it method acting. And we've seen some real fractures of psyche out there. Because you can become a different person. You can be a different human at any moment in time. And it is that week. And when we're challenged in those moments, right, we're going to stick with the persona that we know the best.
Yes.
We're going to dig in. When in fact, it's just a role. It's just a role. And when you realize that you're choosing all your feelings, you're choosing all of your perspectives, you're taking them from the outside in, then you don't realize that you can just look around at any given time without a role.
Right?
You can just see.
I completely agree. I agree that that's for sure a big part. But I also believe that there's a very powerful temper. I was very young when I was like this. Like when I was like 4, my like an older nephew, who was my favorite nephew, he had a song for me. And it was, he's like, this is your, I don't know how you call it, your anthem. And it feels like this. When I grow up, there's gonna be a day that everybody has to do what I say. That's double. I believe that we have certain predispositions. But what I do believe is that you can learn to leverage those predispositions based upon those roles that you're speaking. I truly believe that.
I do agree with you. I think that authenticity is honestly the key to success. In those moments in time where you feel confused about what it is that you're supposed to be doing or what your role is, you should look back inside and realize that you're supposed to be how you feel about yourself. You should be doing things that feel natural to you. And in that moment, the rest will come in turn. I found in my life and my changes in career path that they come at times where, I needed to figure out that I was not being myself. The moment that I realized that I did have self and I had self-worth, that it was something worth loving, that it could show up to a room of people that have never met me before as me, then I'm going to be greater in my roles. I'm going to be greater in my relationships. I'm going to be greater in my friendships, all those things, because I'm not giving anybody anything to guess about. And I'm not giving myself any stress because I'm people.
I think that's the tough part
That's
about
the easiest thing to do.
though.
It's the hardest step to take.
I think it's the tough part about fighting because you don't get to choose when you're not that anymore. You could be you forever with what you do. But if you're a fighter, somebody else might make that decision. You might get hurt. You might get cut. You might, if you're, and to get to where he was at, like, there's no half step in it. Like, maybe you could have sat out a little for injuries and shit, but you're going to war with these guys in there. You got to fucking be right. I mean, if you're getting cracked in the neck fucking knees and elbows. Like it's got to be in you. That's not just something that you think's cool and you keep going back. Like those guys get weeded out way before you get to where you are at with the highest level of guys. You know, it's like, so I've seen it. You know, I've done Ultimate Fighter for 40 seasons with the domestic international, and for many of those, I did all the interviews for the show. So anytime you see them talking to the camera, they're talking to me. And I've seen the highest highs, the lowest lows. I've seen people's dreams just get crushed. I've seen them achieve their dreams. That like, I've cried so many times just in that interview shit, and I've been so happy I've cried. I've been so angry at shit, and like, and, you know, even when the Ultimate Fighter went away for a few years, my identity kind of went away in a way because I'd done that for so long. I've seen like the shit that you've gone through. Like I've seen how a lot of people don't make it out, that they hit the bottle, they hit the drugs, they can't figure out a way to deal with it anymore. So, I mean, I'd like at least to like, as much as someone that hasn't been through it can understand it, I think I can understand it just by seeing it so many times.
It was so ingrained in me. I was so dominant in my basic thing. But while it was really funny because like I couldn't dominate, I was very scrawny a little. You know, it was a real interesting paradox, you know. But I do believe that.
But the fact that you figured it out, you know, you went try to get the knowledge and things that you needed to know, and like you could use that to help other people. It's the most important thing, I think. Because it's a tough one because like you don't get to choose.
This is a veteran situation.
Yes.
A lot of veterans can empathize with this scenario because their career paths change immediately based on a single moment or something like that. I think that you probably are giving them a great example to look to.
The fighter, just the
I
same.
think a lot of veterans look to fighting because they feel that a lot of camaraderie with that group of people. So to see your career change and you to thrive versus survive, that's, you know, that speaks volumes to them.
But it was not always easy because like I still, the thrill, like the moment that I miss the most is the moment you're standing there just before you go on the catwalk, you hear your name, you see your opponent in the ring. I miss that moment every day. Every day.
It's funny. That's the moment I dream about that I always think would be like the best part about it. You know, I did boxing and some shit as a kid, but never with that moment. And I was filming the guys at Gamebred this week, and they had a really long ramp going down, and they come up the stairs, and that fucking, man, you see like they go up 6 steps and they change on those 6 steps from the cool guy that just gave you the pound to like their whole demeanor changes. Like it is fucking go time. There's no happy fucking, hey, high five from most of them. You know, a lot of times guys run to the ring and they're like kind of smiling with the Gamebred, and like these guys,
dude, that's been brutal to watch.
Yeah, Muay Thai's like,
it's so cool.
It's always
the best of the best.
Yeah, man. Like,
primal.
I never knew why Thai boxing like just didn't catch on in the States. Like back in the, you know, I've been working the UFC since 2003, and that was in the stand 'em up days where every time it hit the ground, some drunk guy screaming stand 'em up, and like there's a sport that you need to watch that already exists that is what you want, you know, like the knees and the elbows, and that like it's always been there. And ONE FC is the only one that's really been able to, I think, to do a good job with like marketing the Muay Thai to the masses. But
they do it very smart, you know, like, you know, I after I fought Sunshine, you know, I didn't have a fight for 6 months. That's why I went over into MMA. I was training 6 hours a day. I didn't have fights. Probably something with management. I don't want to really go deep into that. But and then went into MMA, and that was the real dream. You know? I wanted to be like the blood sport guy. You know what I mean? And then
we grew up in that era. We all watched blood sport. It was, you know, we all had a ticking sound in the background, and we were blind and fighting all the time.
Yes.
It was our moment. It was the moment you hear when you're going on the catwalk. That's what I think of. Like, I hear that. Like, I have everybody has their when they call my name moment. Some people, it's a Grammy. Some people, it's a fight. Some people, it's a video game. Whatever it is. But there's that moment where they feel at home. It's their time. They've been doing it. They deserve it. Let's go. That's a hell of a rush.
Yeah, it's the best. It's Yeah, but so now, so sometimes I still miss that drive. So now I'm thinking, okay, perhaps I should find a way to talk to do public speaking, so I can feel that rush in more. But it's not the same, but I think I would like that. And that's something I think would be nice.
It's scary.
How's it feel when you see somebody catch what you're saying, though?
Yeah.
When they get it? That's got to be a great feeling. You know, when you touch someone and that little key unlocks that one lock, because you never know. You never know what somebody's experiences are before that day. And as long as you keep throwing those keys, it could be the first lock or the last lock. But man, when you see the last lock, it's like, it makes you feel so good.
Like one of the things that I am really having an allergy to is the entire victim society that we live in. You can't say no thing. You like, and that's a big problem in my eyes, because the problem is that without like, I'm gonna say a thing and most people don't really understand, but a life without stress is a life without meaning. Because you have to think, why
100%.
do you stress? Well, because you care. And if you don't stress, you don't care enough about something. Stress is the natural.
Yeah. It's a union.
System of your body preparing you to thrive. And once you recently start to embrace this, and once you stop running away from that, in that moment you can really redefine your life, redefine yourself, and then pain can become even divine. And we're not talking about the bedroom, although that's also true. Yeah.
It's funny that
I like this guy, man. I like that you play both sides of the coin here.
the stress is real, though.
I would agree. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that
Gary?
stress, like, you don't feel that shit anymore, like, you're not fucking living. I was talking to a friend like an hour ago, and he works at a maintenance place, and they clean factory floors. The owner he loves what he does. When they have a big job, he said the guy gets so nervous and stressed out before they have to clean the floor, because it's like a long process. It's the one you could see the most, because it's got to shine at the end, and it's like they're going to come and inspect it. And like, the guy was talking about how stressed out the owner gets the night before they got to do a fucking floor. And I was like, that's kind of dumb. I was thinking that earlier, but now, like, it's not dumb. Like, that's his shit. Like, he dedicated his life to this large cleaning business where his fucking identity is like, if that shit ain't shining, like, he's the guy that has a cleaning business that can't clean well. Like, it's like, it's, but so he like gets nervous because he wants to fucking be good so bad that shit happens to me before a fight every fucking time. Like, are my camera guys not going to show up? Is their flight going to get delayed? Is our gear not going to fucking make it? Is like, am I going to fuck something up? You know, am I going to trip over something during the live broadcast and fucking all of a sudden you can't hear Rogan anymore because of this dickhead over here? You know, it's like, if I always get nervous about it, and the moment I don't, I'll know that like I need to go do something else.
Yes.
Thank you. That is so true.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not worth stressing over, why are you even fucking there?
Shit my pants.
But we don't learn this, and we also don't learn how to stay cool in things. That's one thing I do. I help people to turn stress into your superpower. Stress and intense emotions. Also, part of that's like, how can you make conflict? The conflict is good. Without conflict, for sure, into relationships, you will have a stale relationship without passion. I don't say you have to scream.
There's no change.
But also, like, people have the idea that intimacy is this. You're beer and she's wine. So you do some wine with your beer. She drinks some beer with your wine. Until you're like a mixture that nobody wants to drink. And then there's no desire because you're practically fucking yourself, and who wants to do that?
That's a brilliant insight. Who wants to fuck themselves? Well, unless you're like 16 and hiding.
Yeah, but then if you learn to stand there on 2 feet, then something else becomes scary, because then your partner doesn't need you anymore. But then something magical happens, because when someone doesn't need you, they can truly choose you. They can truly desire you, because to create desire, you need an obstacle. You need space to overbridge. And so then you have the space where there's a fire that can burn. And then you can come closer together and closer to yourself, but without losing the connection. the problem that I see also in wider society, if you have a disagreement, well, in that moment, we block, we stop connecting. No, that's a problem. So what I believe in is when I work with some companies, they talk a lot about psychological safety. You heard of this? You know, okay.
Educate
so
us.
Psychological safety comes down to is a perspective where you dare to open your mouth. So you have 4 levels. You have belonging, so you're part of the group. You feel that you're accepted and acknowledged as an individual. So you feel free to be yourself without being punished. The second level is learner psychological safety. In other words, you are allowed to learn. And what do you need to do to learn? Make mistakes. So you make mistakes in the right way. Then the next level is, okay, then we have contributor, where you can do your job, but you can sprinkle your own little taste on there. You can sprinkle your own little herbs so that it's your thing. You bring your own input in. And then the next one, the highest level that they say is challenger psychological safety, where you dare to challenge the status quo. Now, this concept into organizational psychology is really beautiful. However, it is too focused on the organization has to organize this. And granted, we're social beings, this is important. But what is very often forgotten is what I call internal psychological safety, where you're able to connect with other human beings that has extremely different paths to your brain, even offensive ideas, and stay connected to the fact that you're both valuable human beings, that you realize that your vision of the world is biased, that their vision of the world is biased, and that by daring to step into the pressure cooker that is conflict, but without dehumanizing the other, in that moment, there's something new, a new soup can grow out that everybody wants to make, something that is more than something to box. But these days, what I see is, I say A, you say B, we dehumanize each other. We go here with the polarization. People are not really talking anymore. And so what I believe is when you really want intimacy, whether it's an intimate relationship or with anybody else, with another human being, it is ability to see your thoughts and their thoughts, your vision of the world and their vision of the world as hypotheses, as theories that could be true or not true, but are they helpful? And then stay connected with the fact that you're both humans with the same needs and with the same or similar needs and with similar, wishes in life. I think it's really important. And we don't see this these days. People get canceled. That's the most horrible thing that I've ever seen. It's wild, for sure, in the States.
To not feel heard inside of the place you should feel the safest is a horrible place to be. I'd like to piggyback on this as well. 2 words, self-love. In order to be that person in a relationship that has the ability to be mindful and recognize that there are 2 scenarios, you've got to love yourself enough to let them explode when they need to explode. You've got to know and recognize that they're being themselves and allowed to regulate however they want to regulate without you taking personal offense to it. When you take personal offense to it, the only time you do that is if you believe what's being said is real. It's hitting, it's ringing a bell, it's touching a fucking, it's doing something to you. And if you love yourself enough to know that those are things that are being said out of anger, then you won't take that as anything to move forward with in the relationship.
Yeah,
so self-love is very important.
Absolutely. I love how you put that. I haven't heard it like that, but it's absolutely true. It's about learning to be non-reactive, connected but non-reactive. But stand your ground. Don't give in. Like I said, you don't want to get here where you're so connected, overly connected with the other person that you lost track of yourself. So you feel like you're here, that you're all way apart, but you're actually just over-involved. Then people, what very often they do, they separate, but they're both hurting because they were intertwined. And then you go look for somebody else to do the same thing. Then you have that continuous serial monogamy, with a lot of pain that's not necessary. Or one person stands their own resume, or they stay here. And you said in the past you saw it more, because there was no room to separate. That people were separated, they were just not living. They were numbing themselves, distracting themselves. And you see the same thing. This can also happen with your job, for example. When you see people that are completely intertwined, that identified with their job, they push everything in there. But even if they loved it in the beginning, they lost that spice because they're so intertwined. They don't see the difference between their job and themselves. And that's what happened to me too. I was here. That's why I didn't listen to my body. That's why I kept on going. That's why my testosterone levels were half what they are now. I'm 40 now. When I was 25, my testosterone levels were half of what I was now because I got hit in the head all the time, because I was overtraining all the time. Physically, I was a beast, but my body was not having it. And I didn't realize it because I was so identified with that persona, like you said, with that role, And I see that a lot with a lot of very successful people, but when they look in the mirror, they don't see the person everybody looks up to. No, what they see is somebody that's exhausted. They don't see the shine that they used to see inside. And they have their Maserati, they have their penthouse with view on Central Park, and they feel alone, even if there's no absolutely stunning lady next to them.
But
they feel like shit indeed. Because they have become a slave of their own identification, of their own story. And now they cannot choose.
Yes.
They cannot create. They cannot live. They're being lived. They're stuck in what they call the rat race. It's not the rat race. It's not a rat race. It's a dog chasing its own. It's its own.
It's a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Recognize you're on it. You're running in place. You need somebody to put a stick in the fucking tire so you can get off of it and realize you've just been repeating the same shit. You're mentally ill. And I gotta say, if you're doing things every day for somebody else's dream, you're never gonna be happy in your fucking cubicle.
Yeah, but
you need to make your own dream and fucking pursue that. It might be under somebody else's umbrella, and that's all well and good. But you have to be passionate in what you're doing every day when you get out of bed. If you're not, it's not gonna fucking work out for you. You can get money, you can get cars, you can get women, all those things, like you said. I've done it, and it doesn't mean shit. Every single time, it's a temporary high, temporary high, temporary high, temporary high. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be fucking jumping out of planes naked, to try to get a rush or, to feel better about life. And none of it's gonna fucking fill it because why? I hate myself.
That'd be a pretty good rush.
Yeah. Well,
people are doing
naked?
that now.
Yeah.
Naked skydiving? Yeah, that's a thing.
I don't want to do that. Like, you crash it.
Oh, Nico's thinking about it, man.
Hit the ground. Yeah.
Well, you pull a shit, dude. I'm pretty sure that
it doesn't always work. And I'm not trying to die with my dick in the dirt.
I don't want.
You don't want to hit a bramble bush.
I don't want a bird to fly in my cock while I'm going down.
Remember when that happened to that fucking actor or Fabio?
like Fabio on a roller coaster?
Yeah.
Did you guys see that back in the day? He was coming in a goose, hit him right in the face. We talked about, we were talking to a falconry doctor for the Abu Dhabi Falconry Hospital. And she was talking about how falcons have really bad short eyesight. They can see a long way, but they're very poor nearsighted. So if somebody steps in between them and the falcon returning, they'll hit him at full speed, like right in the side of the
100
head,
miles an hour,
because they can't see.
Yeah, that's not. Well, that's some brain damage.
So she would get a lot of them in there. They'd come in like injured because they hit, Tom in the head trying to get back to their
Tom's not paying attention.
Oh, that's great.
Gets what he deserves.
Tom, stay out of the way, Tom. So you have a lot of tools in your toolbox, but there has to be a moment where you open it up and you take inventory and you take stock, right? And I saw in your background that you took time and you went away. You were in Bali. You did some ayahuasca retreats, things like that, correct?
Bali.
Did you find that separation from church and state gave you some of the foundation that you have now?
So after my 5 year ended, I immediately started working, but I didn't have the spice. I felt empty. I was just going through the motions, and I was helping people, which was again a little dopamine surge, but But then in certain moments was really funny. Then and I read about ayahuasca 10 years before, but there was nothing. I didn't know how to do it or where to do it. And then at certain moments, a friend of me was telling about a friend of her that did it in Belgium. Oh, wow. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I went, and my God, she, the madre, that's how they call it, Mama Ayahuasca, she really fucked with me. So I took a little cup, only one, and often there was a giant hand that took me with the hair, but that pushed my nose into literally shit I could taste. So I had to puke, but I said, if I need to puke, I will out. But then it went away. But so I was there feeling, smelling shit, and I shrunk. Like, back in the day with the family in Ethiopia, the little very scrawny kids with like the blown out belly. That's how I saw myself. I was crying, shaking. I saw my father dying, my uncles dying, also my heart side broke, my immune loss, everything was horrible. So I was there, I think, for an hour just crying, puking, going really deep. So at the moment, the shaman was like, Jesus, he's going really deep for his first time. So he came, he blew some tobacco over me, they started to chant, and all of a sudden, I started to grow. My chest started to expand. I started to feel hair coming out. I became a fucking gorilla. So I was standing there like this, with my fist so like that, like a gorilla. When I was doing this, and I could feel the earth shake. And so I felt on top of the world.
That's
a beast.
badass.
I'm a real gorilla. And then, the hat was there. No. You're not a gorilla. You're a little scrawny, broken kid. And it was like a titration by those two things. And the next day, I was crazy. I was completely different. And but at the moment, I was renting a house, I was renting a gym, and I was renting a room in a group practice. So it cost me like 1,600 euros. Only rent was ridiculous. So in Belgium, you have these organizations where you can rent out something for very cheap to avoid squatters to come in. And so I went there, and they showed me a few things was okay. And then they showed me, I'm not kidding, a fucking castle with like towers, with like a dish around, with a bridge. And so
a moat.
They
had a moat. The whole
like
nine.
10 minutes of Antwerp, the city. Well, city in Belgium, a city is not even a town in the state. But okay, so the city in Belgium, Antwerp. And then, I had my gym there. I lived there. Was not really live, but I had my gym there. The relaxation room was my room. And so I lived in a castle for 4 months, and my life was feeling good. And then all of a sudden, I heard of a guy I knew from New York, from the States. I was like, that's weird. And he said, how are you? And I knew in that moment, he was in Bali. I knew in the moment, this is my next step. So he invited me to go teach there. Yes.
Yeah,
no,
I met you in Bali.
Donnie.
But Leone's they own the gym, though, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
That's where. Yeah,
yes.
I met you there before. That's where I met you at.
Oh, well, that's fair. I know. I probably thought you. Yeah.
In like 2015, probably.
Yeah.
That's too funny. What a small
My
world.
mom's maiden name's Leone, and I went to visit my friends in Bali, and then I was like, those guys fight for. I think they fought for one, and they're brothers, and they own the gym.
Yeah, they fought for one.
And it just had opened like a year before.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, nice. And then I was working with Tiffany Van Soest.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's like a multiple glory world champion. She's amazing. But then after a year, I wasn't structured anymore, and I needed something more. And so then I met somebody that was doing online work, and I was like, why the fuck not? And so I stayed there, and then I met, and I would always want to go into Tantra because, I'm a bit of a wild boy. But the thing was, and there's so much losers in there. There's so much very dangerous people that before didn't even dare to talk to a girl, besides when they're paying for it on OnlyFans, you know. But then all of a sudden they get powerful and they get very manipulative, very dark. And then they suppress all the dark side, you know. Oh, we don't like. So all those, what I call fake floaty fuckers, you know. It's like fake hippies, fake spirituality. I could feel it. I could feel there's so much darkness. But I knew it.
You know who's playing the game.
But then I met a guy that was in this field already 20 years. And I asked him, like, do you know someone that's real? And he says, yeah, Uma is real. She is something else. She was also at a certain moment attacked by the anti-cult leader society. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I went to sit with her and we were just talking. And all of a sudden she started to hiss like, I'm a scientist. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Was my life. When it was okay, like my friend said she was serious. She was just real. And after like, I don't know.
Like Kundalini type of thing are we talking about here? That's wild.
After 30 seconds, my lip would start doing like this. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like in my head. And I was like this. I became the gorilla again. And I started to drool 2-3 liters. It was so crazy. And so, yeah, so I'm still friends with her. Like, and in that moment, my scientific mind got a real beating because I could not explain it at all. And then
this is a side effect of meditation as well. Long-term meditation can create these types of effects. It's really interesting how these manifest in different areas of the world, in different locations, under different conditions, yet they still show up the same way. The way that you're describing, facial contortions, arm movements, energetic movements inside of the body that can take place during meditation. They can take place when you get around people like that. I wasn't aware of that kind of stuff until after I started meditating. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't like it. I grew up in the South, so I figured I might have invoked the devil or some shit like that. So it's really mind-blowing when you do cross that threshold of what is supposed to be logical up until that day now becomes something that is outside of that realm of possibility. I'm with you, man. I've walked through a couple of these and it is mind-blowing. And it's actually, I'm a little excited, as you can tell, because it's not often that you can talk about these things with people, because if they haven't experienced it, you sound like you're batshit crazy.
And then there will happen some more weird things. So I do hypnosis, like, you know, as part of my toolbox. And I started with hypnosis actually because when I was younger, I had a girlfriend that went through some horrible experiences with men. And so she couldn't orgasm. And so I went into the literature and I found erotic hypnosis and she worked like a fucking child. So the moment I just touched her here and she was coming right for half an hour. Oh. So it was really interesting.
Wow.
But then so I was around all these hippies, you know, in Bali, all those people that are doing yoga, and they all want to take Kundalini wake. They were talking about it all the time. And then so interesting. And then I hypnotized like a girlfriend of me. She was Muslim. She was not. If you talk about chakras, she stood up and went away. She was so sick of all that fake spirituality. And all of a sudden, she calls me after a while, like, Nico, I have a problem. I'm shaking all the time. Like, you're shaking? Yeah, like for the last 7 hours. I'm like, oh wow. It's hurting. No, it feels fantastic. I say, like, how does it feel? You know that one orgasm that really shook my entire core? Yes, that's what's 2 on a scale of 10. This is 15 for the last 8 hours. And so then it clicked. I said, oh, that's Kundalini. So I said, please do not fight against it because it will drive you crazy. And learn to accept it, learn to embrace, learn to unplug, learn to relax. See, she says, okay. But because she was doing a lot of praying before, she had trained her mind So she started meditating, and literally in a week, she was a completely different person. A completely different person. And I was really jealous because, like, I want to walk around in continuous orgasm all day.
Spiritual envy is a
Jesus
thing.
Christ.
Spiritual
But
envy is a
it's really
thing.
interesting because, like, it went from
Yeah.
woman through me to this woman. Okay, cool. So a few months later, I was working on a retreat for feminine entrepreneurs, and I did a group hypnosis where I really connected them with the universe, that they breathe in the energy of the stars and feel them in their body, and breathe out tension. They're just relax to end up the day. At night, somebody came knocking at my door. Another woman, same thing. And I was like, oh, and she couldn't sleep. She was freaking out. And I was like, okay, you know what I will do? I will take it back. So I was sitting there. You can imagine, I'm a scientist. You know, I'm a psychologist. I'm sitting there like this. Like, her hands.
No.
And I'm making a sound effect. I'm not kidding. But if somebody sees me here, they can roll their hands off. But so I'm kidding. I'm sucking all the energy. And so after like 50 minutes, she's like, oh, thank you. Now I can go to sleep. So I go in my bed. Yeah, I couldn't sleep for 2 days. My hands were on fire. But what the fuck is this shit? So yeah, that was a real interesting bunch of things that happened there in Bali. Then there was COVID, and then I couldn't fly to Europe for like 6 months, and then my grandmother died, and I was okay. Well, if this shit is going on, I have to be in Europe. So from the moment I could fly, I went back to Europe. But then in Belgium, certain moments, the numbers went up. People were freaking out. I was like, okay, where is it green? No. So I went to Portugal, and then I stayed there. And a certain moment, there also came a lockdown. And I have to be honest, it was really hard. I didn't realize how much of an extrovert I was. It was really fucked with me. But then luckily, I dance, and I was on Tinder, and I used Tinder to find dance partners. I do kizomba, bachata, salsa, a bit of tango. And it was somebody that did tango, because there were a bunch of real hippies that lived off grid in a self-made tent in the middle of a nature reserve, and they were doing tango lessons in the middle of lockdown. I was like, fuck yeah. So I went to do tango, and then I met people that were doing contact improvisation. So they were rolling over each other during COVID. It was so funny. So I stayed there for like 2 years. In Portugal, it was really nice, but it was a bit too slow, for me to really stay there. And so then I went to visit a friend in Colombia, and then I went to Thailand, and now I don't know. But what I do know is that there is so much we don't know, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting to not know.
I was listening to a documentary the other day that was saying like that matter only makes up like 2% or some ridiculously small amount of what is everything around us. And I used to have this real problem psychologically trying to rectify what it is that we're talking about, that there has to be something versus something. There has to be an outside to an inside. And one of the things that started running through my head was kind of like if you were to look at a model, and like a model of a room with furniture or whatever in it, if you pushed clay down into it and you pulled it back out and looked at it, that is something. All of the space that is represented inside of that is something. We just can't perceive it with the things that we have. Our senses aren't picking that up, or they've been suppressed. We don't understand it. We're afraid of it. We're led to believe that it is things that it is not. I come from the mindset that if I'm being myself 100% as best I can be, and these things do come to fruition, then they're supposed to happen in the way that they're supposed to happen to me. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You get what you give, for the most part. I think it's like put out negative energy and you're around negative people. Like, where's the positive going to come from?
Yes.
It's very true. Do unto others is a real thing, because when you do unto others in kind ways, it comes back in kind ways. Nobody wants to do you bad if you've always been cool to them. It's a lot harder to be an asshole, or to be a dick to a nice guy.
Unless you're a psychopath.
Right. And then therein is the answer. There's nothing you can do about that.
No.
A psychopath exists because they exist.
Yeah, it reminds me of like research. It's a bad apple where they saw about performance and well-being in work teams, and they just put an actor that was a bad apple, or he was very critical, or he was giving up, and really the level of performance and well-being of the group went down extremely. But then I didn't think the most interesting thing was that if in a dysfunctional team they put a good apple, the same thing happened. It raised the standards. But that is the thing. And then when I go back to the psychological safety, to me, what is a real powerful human, a powerful man or a powerful woman that is such a good apple? And it's somebody that is non-reactive, that can keep their radiance, their joy, their beauty, their goodness in the presence of people that are attacking them, in the presence of people that are trying to insult them. And I have a beautiful example. I don't have too many heroes, but one hero of me is Daryl Davis. Do you know Daryl Davis?
No.
Oh man, you have to look him up. You have to talk to him if you can.
Well, no, he will now.
So Daryl Davis is an African-American jazz singer that's personally converted more than 200 Ku Klux Klan members and Nazis. And you know how he does it? He has conversations with them. He is, for me, the ultimate example of internal psychological safety. He goes into conversation with them. He starts asking them a bunch of questions. And by being non-reactive, by demonstrating, modeling to them that their ideas are faulty, he transformed their entire people. They hang up their cape, and that is a tool that I think that we all learn so much about. When you learn to not take things personally and stay connected with your shared humanity, well, then you can have real passionate relationships, because in that moment, they're real fulfilling relationships, because you acknowledge each other's differences, but you stay connected with the fact that we're all humans. That is what I love. I really, really hate the entire agenda of canceling people, of anti-racism. Anti-racism, is the reverse race. It's racism to white people. That's also racism. That should be cut from the table. We are people. Let's try to acknowledge that we are all people. Let's try to empower people. I see a lot, people that start from a good heart, that, for example, want to do charity in lower income areas, but then they disempower, because they're sub-communicating. Oh, you poor African American, or you poor person of Mexican descent, I will help you. And they can feel good about themselves. Yes, I am somebody that helps them. But yeah, you're not helping them, you're hurting them deeper. It's like an overprotective mother. She takes away all the chances for the child to learn, to create some resilience, to become a person that can survive the world and can thrive in the world. He's stealing that. You selfish person. You're a selfish woman or a selfish dad if you do that. Why? Because you don't feel good about yourself. See how good of a dad I am. See how good of a mother I am. See how good of a person I am. But you are not. You are using this construct that literally disempowers people. What can make a difference? Well, you have to invest in how creating opportunities for people. Like in Belgium, we have a few guys that are Moroccan, and in Belgium, there are very often people that are on the lower scale of the income stream. But some of them are standing up, becoming entrepreneurs, being a real example of like, listen, you don't have to do something illegal to be successful. Look, we can do it. If I can do it, you can do it too. And there are things that I would love to see more when in lower income areas, you create structures that remind people, all people, that they are so strong, that they are so smart, that they are so capable of revolutionizing their life. In that way, I truly believe in the American dream, even though I'm an American. But that will not happen if you can't, if they don't see it. If you see all around of you and nobody is doing it, everybody is slacking off or doing criminal things. Well, that's your normal. You don't see another way out. That's when then only the few that have an opportunity very often through sport, they can get out of it. So I hope that people get a grip and start giving people things is subcommunicating. We have high standards, but I know you can handle it. Let me help you. Let's do this together.
So I think that's a beautiful outlook on life and an approach as well. I like to subscribe to what I call the lighthouse theory. We're our strongest when we're acting as we're intended to be through our example of strength. Other people will find a lot more vision from you if you are being yourself as strong as you can, as hard as you can, in place, living in the now. Other people are going to take that as an example that it is okay to be themselves, to be strong. When you're a lighthouse, you don't go out and influence people. People take their direction from you being you. You're sitting there, you're not doing anything but what you're intended to be. And when you do that, you're not slapping the face of whomever or whatever made you, because to think that you know better is a slap in anything's face that created you. Be you. The world deserves you. To not be you robs the world of what they're supposed to have. You're actively keeping people from seeing the wonder that is you. And that's selfish.
I read that on the wall of my dentist's office, and it had like a water.
You asshole. It was Home Goods. You know that. It was live, laugh, and love.
Yeah.
It's above my toilet. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But it's true. You are robbing people of your true potential. We all deserve to see what we
people could tell
are capable of being.
That cliche as fuck, but real recognized real. Like, you know, and these people, like, you see them on protests, they jump out of their BMW and fucking write Black Lives Matter on some shit and dive back in and back to the fucking valley and leave whatever cause of the month, like burning when they go to the next one, or, you know, they do it to feel better or superior. You know, there's all these reasons that people do the shit, and then, you know, they don't give people the tools to succeed. They give them just enough to survive and then take the credit for their survival. And that's bullshit.
Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful, actually. That is a great way to put it. That is a great way to put it. I think it's a great way to end the show, actually. I want to give you a chance, Nico, to tell everybody where they can find you and what you got from.
So, you basically can find me on my socials because I have a website, but all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on with Google. My domain disappeared, literally.
I noticed that today. Yeah, when I was looking through some stuff, and I was like, "Where'd it go?"
Disappeared. So
social media. We'll send them there until that's rectified.
And like, if you want to live a full contact life, that's how I can help you. When you learn to embrace everything, because if you do not dare to embrace the dark, you cannot embrace the light. If you do not dare to open up for the possibility for pain, you never will be able to feel real happiness and joy.
I love it. I appreciate you, Gary. Do you have anything you want to wrap up with?
I don't think so. We covered a lot of different things, but I just definitely like to invite you to come back whenever you want. We'll talk. I got another podcast coming out. It's going to be more about fighting. I'd like to pick your brain on some fighting stuff and then everything as well. You know, anytime you want, just let us know.
Yes, I could. Yeah,
absolutely. The show that's coming out is Bars and Scars. Nice. And it's going to be dedicated to combat sports and the hip hop culture and music. Or you could probably explain that better, Gary. I just kind of gave it my spin. but it's for people like yourself to come on and talk about, you know, what you've done and your career. And Gary is super passionate about it. He's going to be an amazing host.
I love it. So I'll be more than happy to join. I love you guys' energy. It's nice.
Walkout music is everything.
Music, man, like people get the rhythm of their way they fight from sometimes the music they listen to, and music can take you to a different place. And besides just the deep shit, it's just the two things I like the most. So that's why I want to do the show about it. So
everything's vibration. It works for a reason.
I'm agreeing, you know, fighting and music are two of the most deep things that we can have. It's so true, so close to what we are. We are animals, we're humans. It's part of who we are.
We're animals and we are vibration. Yeah. And that is
vibrating
music.
Animals. Sounds quite orgasmic.
That sounds like a website. I think they have those. It's a rabbit, right? Oh man, we're done.
Those dirty.
All right, everybody. Remember, be cool and keep learning.